Welcome everybody. Glad you could come with me and meet with me again for this observing report back in from July. So about August, September, October, November, December, about 6 months ago. It was done on July 28th and 29th, the evening of the 28th and the early morning of the 29th, 2025, at a location called Horseshoe Knoll in Skull Valley, Utah. Just realized I want to pause for a second because I want to do something really quick. Thanks for waiting for me to get here. So what I've done, this is my Patreon page, and the video that I'm recording right now will go here, of course. So after Cedar Mountain's great adventure, as we were driving home, we passed Horseshoe Springs, and just so you can see, I'll go all the way to the bottom of this post, if I can get there without messing this up. You can see that Horseshoe Springs is a spring. It's an oasis out in the middle of Skull Valley in the West Desert of Utah. It's the place where, as people were going through to go on the Hastings Cutoff to go to California, before they went out to the Great Salt Lake Desert and Great Salt Flats, this was the area they would water their horses, their animals, get water for that part of the journey. Unfortunately, it's so hot out there that as they're crossing over in late summer or midsummer, it is just burning, and their animals, there's just, even though this is there, when you get out there, there's nothing. And anyway, they just struggled. But this is an oasis in the desert. But we'll talk about this later. It also brings, if you're out there observing at Horseshoe Knoll, it's going to bring those little critters that like to bite us and get our blood so they can reproduce, called mosquitoes. So anyway, we saw that. We stopped there, and we noticed across the way there was this knoll up above, and we thought that would be a really good observing site. And Google Maps said it was only about 40 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic, from my home. And so we decided to go out and give that one a try. So we packed up on the day of the 28th, and I headed out, got out there, and Shane met me out there and made a little video of a bunch of the shots that I took from my phone, and you can see that if you want. It's just a short little 2-minute video. But I've also, and this is what I put you on hold for, on pause for, is I wanted to get a map just to kind of show you relatively where we are. So this is where I live. This is the Salt Lake Valley out here. Okay, so you would drive up here, go up here, take this out, hit I-80. This is I-80 right there. And you're going to take this little exit right here, and it comes down Highway 196. And the knolls are located right here. You can see, if you click on the image, there's Horseshoe Springs right here because it kind of looks like a horseshoe. The knoll's across from it, so it's called Horseshoe Knoll. And then there's a bunch of springs through here. So you are going to have, the farther north you go up toward the I-80, you're going to hit some bugs up there in the summer. So you want to have Thermacell and some good spray to do that. So here are some of the shots. This is after I'd set up. This is looking south. Right here, 17.5 is set up. She's not collimated, you can see, because the bag is still on the scope. This is the view. I'll just give you the southern view here. Kind of a southern to, when you get over to the left side there, that's looking more, starting to go southeast. This is going definitely southeast here over the Stansbury Mountains. And you can read the post if you want to get more details. This is your southern view right here. That's looking directly south. That's the knoll right there. It's just a little hill. It looks like a mountain, but it's not. It's really just a little hill. It doesn't really impact the view. If you're looking that low, you're looking in the buck, so I don't go that low. This is your southwest view. You can see down here, back over in the right middle side, there's a trailer there. There was a couple there. A little funny story with that. They had a generator. And actually, for the next month or two, as we passed through Skull Valley in that area, they were camped out there. So evidently, they were kind of living there for a while. They had a truck and a car there. They had a generator. The generator, it failed at about 8:30. And the guy went out to work on it, and he had some choice words, of course, which echoed all the way up from where they're at to us. And that's the view that I had. That's about how far they were away, a good half mile or so, maybe a little bit more. But anyway, this is looking northwest, and this is looking north. and then that's looking north with the 17.5 there. Again, not collimated yet because the bag's still on secondary. That's sunset looking west. That camper, I've zoomed in here so the camper looks a little closer, but anyway, that was about the time when they started. We started hearing some choice words coming up from him, and then I think he got a little frustrated at her because it was a man and a woman, and she got a little frustrated with him. It was just kind of an interesting thing. So anyway, again, the view looking west at sunset, twilight coming in, the lights over there on the right middle, those are cars coming down Hastings Pass trying to get out before it gets too dark. That's the area that the actual pioneers would go back up and then back over to the Cedars, because you didn't want to cross the Cedars down where we usually observe. That would be very hard on wagons and teams and people. There's the view at sunset twilight looking south, and I really like this picture. That's why I include it. It has the 17.5, and you're actually seeing astronomical twilight come in right there. Just absolutely love that. The moon was up that night. Again, you can see the trailer in the distance there. It went down relatively quick. By 10:15, it was gone behind the Cedar Mountains. No impact that night in viewing because it's so late getting up here. I mean, really, you can't start observing until about 10:45 or so. Also that night, I'm just showing here, this was the first night I used my Pi Finder. You can see I have it on where the tail rad typically goes right now. It's on a 2-inch riser. The base fits right in, and then from Scope Stuff I got the adapter that plugs right on into that base that I also got from Scope Stuff that sits on top of the riser, and then the Pi Finder just sits in the dovetail right on that. Works perfectly. Love that. Probably this spring I'm going to figure out a way to leave the tail rad on, and I'm going to probably move that maybe onto a pole. Maybe just somewhere else. I'd like to keep the tail rad on because I do like to star hop. So anyway, there you go. And there's the 20 millimeter XWA in the Paracord 2 that I had. That's a big setup right there. And there's my stellar viewfinder, which of course you can see. A little bit close up, you can see here, I can't see what the object was. This was at the end of the night where I took the picture. I brightened everything up really bright to the brightest level that the Pi Finder could go, so you can see these are the number displays. These are the arrows that you use. This is a square button. If you hit that square button and the button right above it, and you keep doing that, you can actually dim it down to where only the screen shows, and it shows ever so faintly. The buttons disappear once you've done touching them. After a couple seconds, they turn off. I love that feature. And then they turn on when I touch them, so I can see them. And then it stays dark and doesn't impact my view. I do have a little like I use for my side mirrors on my Ascent, because they have those lights that go on. I haven't figured out how to shut them off yet. I got, in the wintertime, you can get little covers that go over those that are black and nice and thick, so the light doesn't, if the door opens, the light from the side mirrors don't bother anybody. I have one of those that I can put it over the Pi Finder to block the light if I'm looking at a really faint object and using the Pi Finder to get there instead of star hopping. I will take the Pi Finder off and put the tail rad back on. I'm pretty amazed by this. When I do that, the tail rad's basically right on, maybe just a little bit of a tweak. Not a big deal. I do have to realign the Pi Finder if I take it off, though, when I get it back on. Not a big deal. Again, I can do that. That's not an issue. This night, not hunting galaxies, not hunting true nebula, but I'm going after these tiny hazy patches that look almost like a faint star at first in a finder. But if you can see them in a finder, if they're bright enough, sometimes they're not. But the closer you look at them, the more these objects seem to come alive. What they are is called a globular cluster. It's not just one star. It's actually hundreds of thousands, if not sometimes millions of stars, usually hundreds of thousands of stars that are packed together in a tight shimmering ball. Some people think they could be the core remains of galaxies that have merged with ours. The center is bright and dense. It's like a distant city of stars glowing in the dark, while the edges gradually thin out into a delicate halo, twinkling softly against the black canvas of space. It's just, they're wonderful to look at. I love them. Some clusters will look smooth and misty. You won't resolve any stars on them. Others almost sparkle as individual stars begin to resolve through the telescope and the eyepiece. Some of them you look at, like M13 and a couple other ones, and there's just like just this massive population of stars, all tied up in a ball. It's like peering into a glittering cosmic jewel, really, ancient and vast, and a remnant of the galaxy's earlier days, sitting quietly hundreds or tens of thousand light years away from us. Most of them, if my hand is the Milky Way galaxy, and we'll just put it face on, so pretend my fingers are like the arms coming out, okay? Most of them, and we'll turn it sideways, most of them sit on the halo. And the ones we're looking at, since we're in the north, are mainly up here. They're in the upper halo of the Milky Way. They're not embedded, like my fingers are the arms and stuff. They're not embedded in the Milky Way itself. They tend to be right, not all, but they tend to be right up there. In addition to the globulars I was going after that night, and you'll see that when we go through the sketches, I was going after one of my favorite objects to go after, and they are called Planetary Nebula. These are a glowing cosmic bubble left behind when a star like our sun sheds its outer layers at the end of its life, leaving a core about the size of the Earth that's just a hot ball of almost crystal that is so hot it lights up the gas, the outer layers that it's shed, and through the telescope it often looks like a small colorful disk, or sometimes a ring, sometimes with intricate shapes, or wisps surrounding that bright central star, which is a white dwarf. Sometimes you can see the central star, sometimes you can't. Sometimes they're challenging. You can see them, but they're a challenge object. The ring nebula, M57 in the summer, is one. A lot of people like to try to see the central star. It's a challenge object for some people. I've seen it multiple times. It's great when you have the right conditions to pull it out and the right aperture to do it. And with some, you're never going to see visually the central star. In addition, a lot of them, when you go to see them, you're going to see an inner shell and an outer shell on a few of them. If you're going to image them, you'll definitely get those inner and outer shells. The light's coming from the hot core that's called a white dwarf, the remnant of the original star. The hot core excites the expanding gas and the expelled gas and makes it shine in those vivid colors. Usually on most of these, they're either going to be the grayish white that the faint fuzzies are, but some of them will come across. I've had some blue, a lot of them are teal, and a couple I've had a pinkish color too. If they're putting out that greenish blue, that's from oxygen, or if they're kind of putting out that pinkish reddish, that's hydrogen coming through. Some will appear ghostly and delicate, others are bright and jewel-like. They'll hold your gaze like a miniature galaxy of light. Some, if you're really good at observing or imaging them, will show an outer and inner shell of gas, like I said. Even though they're tiny on the sky, each one is only a few light years across, and they tell the story of a stellar death and a rebirth. Observing one is like catching a star in its last brilliant act before it fades. That white dwarf fades into a black dwarf. It fades into oblivion. Still there. We're just not going to pick it up right now. We'll never see a black dwarf, I don't believe, in our visual telescopes. The sketches that I share below are raw. I haven't adjusted them. They just come from me. I put my camera on a tripod back there and just image on my desk here. I've adjusted the brightness on the camera. So the images are that's the only adjustment I've done. I haven't done anything else to them. So they are what they are, just captured in the moment. And the instrument, 17.5-inch Dob, f4.4, used the Paracore 2 that night, used the 20, the 13, the 9, and the 7mm XWA. I had just gotten them, was just trying them out. And then I kind of give the specifics with each sketch. SQM that night was 2145 to 2151. Scene was very good, transparency was very good. Antonati was 2. The stars were holding very still, and I think you can see the color of the sky. And the transparency was probably very good to excellent, and moved to excellent as the later in the night we got, which is pretty typical. First object was a globular cluster in Ophiuchus, NGC 6356. That's the sketch. If you actually get into it and look at the center and kind of draw into it, you'll see that I've been able to get some of the individual stars. It's very faint, core's a little bright. And I'm not going to go through all of these. If you really want to look at these, you can go to the Patreon site and pull them up and look at them. They are pretty realistic for what you're going to see when you look through a telescope. I really try to capture that. And again, I am not the best sketcher in the world. There are plenty who are far better than me. This is just the raw sketch of me at the eyepiece, okay? Here is what I was talking about earlier, though. We'll go through 6342. It's a globular cluster in Ophiuchus. There are no stars. There's just a hint, if you look very closely at it, of brightening at the core in the middle. And you're going to see it didn't resolve any stars. It just looks flat, but still kind of cool to see in the eyepiece. It's way cool. And to think that it's out there and how old they are. I mean, look at this one. This one, the physical characteristics, its age is estimated at 11 to 12 billion years. That light that I saw on July 28th or 29th took 11 to 12 billion years to get here. Think about everything that's gone on in the history of, I mean, that's older than our world. That's gone on, and the things that it's just amazing to me. It's humbling to me. I'm not going to be around that long, that's for sure. NGC 6235, another globular in Ophiuchus. This one was really weird. It's not really round. It's kind of elongated, kind of irregular in shape. No real stars, just maybe a hint of brightening at the core. Another just faint one. And then as we come down, NGC 6287, a much brighter core. And if you look closely, not any stars resolved in that one, but it almost had a stellar-like core, which I think I captured pretty good there. NGC 6369. Now I'm going to spend a minute on this. This is a planetary nebula. You can see the central star. I can see it with the O3 filter and the 7mm XWA. So I was probably looking at about 320 to 350 in magnification. The actual color, this one was a teal, and in the actual sketch that I have of that one, it actually is teal in color, and I'm just trying to see really quickly if I can pull that up and show you. Give me 1 second, I'm almost there. There it is. I don't know if you can actually see this. I may have to get a light on it. Let's see if that happens. No, that's going to just distract it a little bit, but maybe you can see it. It's almost a teal color. I used a teal pastel on the actual sketch. So you can kind of see that. It doesn't come through on here. Central star is there. You can see the gas. That's oxygen that's being ignited by that central white dwarf. And pretty cool object. I love these. They just shine so beautifully, and they're so easy to see. Some of them. Next one, and then I just got information on each of them that you can look at. This is a bad sketch of NGC 7331. I really wasn't trying to get the galaxy or the Deerlicks in. I saw them, observed them. I did a sketch. What I was going after on this object was one of my favorite objects, actually, and you can see. In the next post on my next observatory report, I actually took an image of this in the sea star, excuse me, but I captured SN 2025 RBS 7331 this summer had a supernova, a type 1A, so that's a white dwarf that had a companion and took mass from that companion and exceeded Chandrasekhar limit of 1.44 solar masses. When it gets that much mass from its companion, it can't hold it. The degenerate pressure gives in, and it collapses and explodes, usually sending its companion moving out away from it. It explodes, and that's a type 1A, and that's what we have here. And it's right on the edge of the core of the galaxy, almost making it look like it was a secondary core right next to it. It was beautiful. It was on the southwest end of the galaxy next to the bright core. It's round, and like it said, it almost made it look like a double core. Kind of a cool thing. If I ever can get out, and we'll do a post of how you can know what supernova to go look at in certain galaxies, and if they're available to you. I'll be sharing that information soon, in probably the next 2 weeks with you. You can read the observation there. This one, here's another Planetary Nebula, the little gem. I actually got this in another observation because I forgot I got it that night. So I got it twice within a month. So you'll see another sketch later. This one's done with the 7mm XWA. The next one will be done with the 20mm. It will be a little wider field. Irregular, it was greenish teal in color again. Couldn't see the central star on this one. You can see faint 3 stars that made an equilateral triangle that it sits in. Just a beautiful view. You get a little bit of drop off on the brightness on the outer shell as you get toward the edge, and the interior is just slightly fainter. Okay, I think I kind of captured you. If you look really closely, you'll see that interior kind of drops off right at the core, but no central star on that one. This is a globular. You could see all kinds of stars in this one. This is NGC 6517 in Ophiuchus. Bright inner core. The stars are very evident and got fainter as you went out. It's in a very rich field in the Milky Way, and so it's just an explosive one to go see. Great globular to go take a look at. Then we had another one, 6401 in Ophiuchus. You can see some stars brightening in the core, and a few other stars around it were resolving, but for the most part, not a ton. And then this is another globular, 6284, kind of roundish in nature, bright inner core, some stars evident and resolved around that core, which I tried to capture there for you. And then just showing you that we put up with mosquitoes that night. It got the thermocells out. Thermocells worked great once they kicked in, but I ended up with a couple bites on my head. Top of my head, I had a couple mosquito bites, and they were pretty good. They liked me. Anyway, so loved the Pi Finder. The Pi Finder that night was a game changer for me. I love star hopping. Always will. I still do it. But using the Pi Finder allows me to get to some objects if I really want to get to them and spend more time sketching and observing. I always spend probably too long observing my objects because I try to get out as much detail as I can. Anyway, so I think for anybody who's new, if you're going to do visual observing, having a Pi Finder is a game changer. It just helps you be great. It's great with outreach, I think. Great for new people. I still think it's very important if you're new to get a star wheel, a planisphere, not a planet sphere, a planisphere, or they're called a star wheel, and learn how to star hop, learn the constellations of the sky, learn how to read a map and star hop, or to use on a phone or a tablet, an app, but you're still like Sky Safari, Stellarium. You're still going to learn to star hop by using that, going from one star to another star until you get to the object. But the Pi Finder can stop a lot of frustration on fainter objects for a lot of people, and I think that's good. If it helps you to accomplish your goals in this hobby, that's what it's all about. Some people are visual, some people are image, some people are EAA, some people are tech people with this. They like their night vision. I love my night vision at home. I'll have to do a post on that sometime. But there's so many ways to enjoy this hobby. Just make sure you're going out and learning and growing and looking up and connecting with these objects and realizing I was looking at things that were 10 to 13 billion years old. That's incredible. I was looking at things that are the remnant of stars that have died, that are reseeding their heavy elements back into the universe so it can be recycled. The story, that age-old story of birth, growth, death, and renewal. It's amazing to me how the universe renews a lot of what it is. So thanks for coming back to me on July 28th and 29th. Thanks for symbolically gathering with me around the telescope. Let me share my night with you. It was a great night. I loved, Shane and I had a great night that night. It's always great. You're going to see I'll actually show a picture of him. He's going to be kind of, if you ever saw the whole time, he's kind of be like Al across the fence. Not Al, the guy across the fence. Haven't shown his face yet, but you'll see him collimating, so you'll see Shane, but you won't see his face. Maybe I'll kind of keep that up, and then one day we can reveal his face. That would be kind of interesting. But thanks for coming. Thanks for being around. Have a great night. Keep looking up. Plan to get out next week if you have clear skies. I will, so you won't be bombarded next week with posts because I'm going to be busy with my telescope. I hope you are too. Keep looking up.